Okay, welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show, folks. That, of course, you heard it live yesterday on the air, right at about 4:45 Eastern Time. Jodie Arias being found guilty of first-degree murder. All the jurors agreed that it was premeditated. So how did that happen, and what lies ahead? And what about that bizarre interview that she did with a reporter from a Fox station after the verdict? Joining us now to talk about all of that is famed attorney Gloria Allred. Hello, Gloria. How are you?
Hi, just great. Thank you, Steve.
Good to talk to you again. Okay, so your reaction when you heard the verdict?
I definitely feel that it was justified by the evidence presented by the prosecution in this case. And Jodie Arias did premeditate this killing. There's so much evidence of premeditation, so much more than the law requires, so much more than one would ordinarily even see presented in a criminal case.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It was overwhelming, and I mean, here she is driving from California to Arizona, getting gas cans filled up so that she wouldn't probably have to be viewed by video cameras in various gas stations in Arizona, trying to cover her tracks so she wouldn't be known to have been in Arizona that day. Not having to use her credit card because she's filling up and using the gas along the way, renting a car so her own car couldn't be traced, getting a white car instead of a red car so it wouldn't attract so much attention. Suddenly her cell phone activity when she's in Arizona is blank so that she wouldn't show up on the grid as having been in Arizona. She says that her cell phone went dead and she didn't have a charger. Her changing her hair color from blonde to darker hair, so if she were seen going into Travis's home, perhaps she wouldn't be recognized as the blonde person she formerly was when she was with him. So much more.
Yeah, she spent a lot of time premeditating this, didn't she?
Yeah, and then, of course, the coincidence, so-called coincidence, that the .25 caliber gun that was used to shoot him, a .25 caliber gun was stolen from her grandparents' home where she had been residing a week before, and then he shot with a .25 caliber gun, which suddenly goes missing. There is just a ridiculous amount of evidence of premeditation. And I don't think the jury could ignore it, or at least they could also find her under felony murder. Anyway, they found her first degree, so now the question is, are they going to decide that, in fact, she should get the death penalty?
All right. Now, glad you left it at there, because now you're going to hear something, probably the most amazing thing I've ever heard. And I heard some amazing things come out of her mouth during the course of the trial. In fact, the whole trial was very unique in so many respects. It was bizarre. I think you might agree. But let's listen to what she said about life or death penalty or life in prison, right after the verdict, in an interview that she gave, a 45-minute interview to a Fox affiliate in Phoenix. And here's cut 40.
Well, the worst outcome for me would be natural life. I would much rather die sooner than later. Longevity runs in my family, and I don't want to spend the rest of my natural life in one place. You know, I'm pretty healthy. I don't smoke, and I would probably live a long time. So that's not something I'm looking forward to. I said years ago that I'd rather get death than life, and that still is true today. I believe death is the ultimate freedom, so I'd rather just have my freedom as soon as I can get it.
So you're saying you actually prefer getting the death penalty to being in prison for life?
Yes.
All right. Now, first question is, how does her lawyer let her do an interview immediately after the verdict?
Steve, you read my mind completely, because that's the first thing that I thought of when this interview was happening. And also, of course, she was tweeting even while the jury's deliberating through a friend of hers, somebody who was visiting her. She's tweeting out, comments about the prosecutor, comments about others, and the jury. It's just unbelievable. There's no client control there. Anyway, she did the interview. She said what you just played. She wants her freedom sooner rather than later. Who doesn't want their freedom?
Well, through death,
has resulted in her being now on suicide watch.
Right.
She can't do any other interviews. But any interview she did, I mean, she could have talked to the jury in the courtroom. What's she doing an interview? Completely inappropriate. It just feeds into, the concept that she is a manipulator. Maybe this is the ultimate manipulation. I want death So in other words, don't give her what she wants,
Right.
give her life, but she really wants life. Look, she's a complete liar. You can't believe anything that comes out of her mouth. But she's all about herself, not really about Travis.
All right, but now how does this play out in the courtroom? Because, I mean, does she tell her attorney, I want the death penalty? Does she make a statement when she makes one in court? I want to die. I want the death penalty. And if she doesn't say that, then can they play this interview in court? I mean, how do you think this is going to play out in court?
Well, I guess she could also say to her attorney, look, don't even bother putting anything on about mitigating circumstances.
Well, if she was true to her words yesterday, she would.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just tell the prosecutor, I will stipulate to the death penalty. I'll agree to it. You don't have to go through this. But
so what do you think's going to happen? What do you think she's going to do ultimately?
I don't know, but I think this is a person who thinks that she can always control everything, and ultimately she found that she couldn't control Travis. He didn't want her anymore. He didn't want her to marry her. And she's decided she's taking control of the situation. She's going to kill him. If he's going to do that, then she's going to kill him. Now she thinks, okay, well, now I can take control. I'll decide if I'm going to die or not. Guess what, Jodie? You no longer have control over this. This is what the jury is going to have to decide. By the way, if the jury decides on death, then she'll get death, unless, of course, it's overturned on appeal. But it has to be unanimous jury. If they decide, and they can't, and they're not unanimous, that she does not get the death penalty, then it's going to be up to the judge to decide what to do next in terms of the sentence. If it's not unanimous, however, he cannot sentence her to death.
Right.
He then has to choose life in prison without the possibility of parole or life in prison with the possibility of parole.
Oh, God. But if they all say death, the judge could still, she could still say no death, right? Just life in prison.
Well, you know what? If they all say death, then it's going to be death. The jury is going to decide, except unless, of course, it's all overturned.
But give me a prediction. I know she's a nut, and I don't mean that she's an incompetent nut. She's a savvy, smart, sly, manipulative, murderous nut. But so what? Again, I go back to that other question. Give me some kind of prediction based on what you've seen, what your gut tells you. Is she going to ask the jury in court to put her to death?
She's so unpredictable. I really don't know, and it's really hard to predict with her.
Would it surprise you if she did that?
Basically nothing would surprise me. She may want to talk.
Yeah.
Because she loves to talk. I mean, how many days, weeks did she testify in court? Nobody's ever seen anything like this.
No.
The defendant accused of first-degree murder takes the witness stand and lies and lies and lies in the face of the jury. That's after she's told 3 different stories, of course, on Inside Edition, on 48 Hours, to the public in various interviews, lied to the police and detectives, lied to Travis's family. I mean, lie, and more lie. I don't know what she can say to the jury at this point. My guess is she's going to want to say something, but she may not. I don't know. But now it's going to be hard on this jury deliberation. May not be an easy one, because she has been there with them for so many years. Not years, but
months,
so many weeks testifying from the witness stand. They're kind of calling her Jodie, not the defendant, not Ms. Arias, probably. And so it's hard to put to death somebody, that you've known in that way.
Right.
But
well,
they may decide. But again, there may be a lot of battles inside the jury room, and if they can't decide, then she's going to. But life in prison without the possibility of parole is not a fate that many people would like.
No, but it's an interesting topic because one of the arguments against the death penalty, especially before the advent of DNA, was, these people want to die. They don't want to spend the rest of their life in prison. Yet they fight tooth and nail not to be put to death. They all want to choose life in prison over death. I don't know anybody who really has come forward. Maybe there's a few exceptions and said, I want to die as opposed to life in prison. So who knows? Listen, Gloria, I can't wait to have you back and when this is finally decided, and we'll go over it again. And thank you for your time. Always great to talk to you.
Well, thank you. I'll say one last thing, which is that sometimes people on death row, however, get better treatment than those who are not on death row. So maybe she just wants, kind of a cushier existence on death row. Also, it takes years, given appeal.
Right, sure.
To kill someone. So
she'll do plenty of interviews, believe me. We'll see her all over TV for years.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Gloria.
Bye, Steve.
Take care. All right, Gloria Allred, ladies and gentlemen.